Yeah, yeah, we don't expect the state of the time, so we don't have. So the way, that's okay, no, it's fine, I understand. So, this is, and then this is us. So I will get a readable statement, and then remind me if there was something. Okay. So, and then, come up here. They say 300 years. It is. Whatever you feel like it's, you want to say it's the right way for you. And then, last week I had to do the same thing.
Yes, they do. Yeah, no, we should be okay. They know what you're talking about. The city gave us full control because they know what's going to be this.
I think that's probably what she feels right waiting for a minute. That's how I feel a while.
We have our undercarriers. And we invited them. We invited Congress people, Senator, Mayor, everybody. Anyone who I know this rose will open. And, it was the guy. Hey, Jim. Good morning. How are you doing? No. Well, it's warm in here. Anyways, one of those guys, actually wrote a proclamation that read.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I was wondering.
So we have all the rodeo trees, very smart, and I was always at the front of the line getting that. I've seen a big, they donated, or they're donating to the Greek festival, so they could call it thing. So they're doing that.
Was that qualified as emergency?
Well,
Food service for
they would provide it.
They would.
Absolutely. That's just the way they are.
They would try. So that's what happens.
Well, I don't know about that.
No, everybody has to stay home most of the year.
Come seeker, come traveler, come all humankind, online or in person, whomever you love.
Come and be welcome at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Cheyenne. Here we are building a community of refuge where all have equal worth and are invited into spiritual exploration as a foundation of hope, compassionate service, and action.
This is a place where questions are encouraged. And a place with room for all of who you are.
This is a place for works in progress, a place for being human together.
Welcome. It is good to be here.
Settle in and exhale. This is a time for community.
And now we invite Carol Bowles up.
Carol is here. Yeah.
Sorry.
Hi. I'm Carol, a member of the board, and I welcome you to this church where we are on a shared journey to find meaning, connection, and community together. If you are new to us, please fill out a welcome card and drop it in the offering basket so we can share information about our activities and help find what nourishes your spirit here. There are note cards in your pew for writing your joys and concerns for the pastoral prayer, and we pass a square basket around during the offering to gather these. Write your name or remain anonymous. You can write "Do Not Share" on the card if there's something you want held in care by our minister and pastoral care team, but not spoken aloud. Many activities and events happen each week in this community. There are a few coming up soon. Firstly, the UUCC Fundraising Committee would like to thank everyone for their support for the service auction. We appreciate all the fabulous donations, services offered, delicious food shared, set up, and cleanup done, and the generous purchases made on March 7th. The service auction was a great success, and we made $15,000. Thank you. Yay. The UUCC board will be leading a discussion about the process of finding our next minister directly after church on April 12th. We will explain the ministerial search and hiring process and request input from the congregation to help in the search for our next minister. The same day, April 12th, will be our community fair. Join us in the social hall afterwards to explore the events and groups we have at our church. Everything from meditation and yoga to volunteer opportunities to religious study groups. Don't see something that interests you while you are there and feel like you'd enjoyed leading a group? Let Jed know, and he can help advertise a new group. Will there be an offering ask? Okay.
Good morning. I'm Elizabeth Thorson from the Share the Plate Committee. We gather in person and on Zoom each week, giving from our resources to sustain the work of this church and share our abundance with community organizations, broadening the reach of our values. You can find the text to give number in your order of service, or use your Realm app for electronic giving, or your Share the Plate offerings and pledges may also be dropped in the baskets in a few moments as they pass. Our Share the Plate partner for March is Recover Wyoming. We have James Underwood here to tell us a little bit about their work. Let's welcome him.
Good morning. My name is James Underwood, and I am from Recovery of Wyoming. I am in person in long-term recovery, and what that means to me is I hadn't used crack cocaine in close to 14 years. September will be 14 years. I started with Recovery of Wyoming. It's a nonprofit. and we honor all pathways. And what I mean by honor all pathways, everybody is welcome. So let me tell you a little thing about Recovery of Wyoming. I am from Houston, Texas, born and raised. I am an I want to say gang member. I'm going to say ex-gang member. I used crack really bad. I got out of prison. I am a 6-time loser. What that means is I've been to prison 6 times. I got 9 felonies. I came to Wyoming with no place to live. A pair of shoes that was too small and a bag that was donated to the church to me. I got here, I had no hope, but I started going to Recovery of Wyoming, and over the years, I kept my recovery going. I started volunteering at Recovery of Wyoming because I wanted to stay clean and sober, and they helped me tremendous. Today, I am a certified peer specialist with the forensics. I am doing that. I am a certified mental health first aid. I got my certification in that, and that's all due to Recovery of Wyoming. Last year, I won Recovery Champion of 2025. It's all due to Recovery of Wyoming. Recovery of Wyoming is an awesome place, and after volunteering for so long, and I am disabled, they gave me a job working on Saturdays from 9 to 1 because I did so much in the community. And I work with the prisoners that come out, inmates that come out, because they can relate. I can relate to them and they can relate to me. So they come in on Saturdays and I sit down and I talk to them about recovery and what recovery means and what recovery means to them. It didn't matter what pathway that they're coming from. I'm there to have an open ear and to help them navigate their coming into society and doing recovery. Recovery in Wyoming is an awesome place. I am now also going to be doing the forensic trainings for Recovery of Wyoming. So every 6 months I do a forensic training, and what that means is that's through the criminal justice system. Me. I also go into the prisons and speak at the prisons, Torrington, Lusk, and Newcastle. Me. This person right here. So I gotta say, Recovery of Wyoming is an awesome place to go to. So that's all I have for you today.
This offering of generosity is gratefully received for the work of the community and beyond our walls. Our call to worship today is The Queer Beatitudes by Sister Sweet Suffering Tea, also known as Tim Atkins. Blessed are the fabulous, for they remind the world that life is meant to be lived in color. Blessed are the brokenhearted, for they will find chosen family to hold them together. Blessed are the drag queens, the leather daddies, the femmes, the butches, the bears, the twinks, and all beyond and in between. For they show us the endless creativity of love. Blessed are those who have been told they are too much, for they will discover that they are exactly enough. Blessed are the lovers who kiss on sidewalks, for they make the streets holy ground. Blessed are the ones who glitter, who dance, who vogue, who sing off-key in karaoke bars, for theirs is the kingdom of joy. Blessed are the elders who paved the way, for we follow in the freedom of their work. Blessed are the young ones, still figuring it out, for the world is wide enough for all their becoming. Blessed are we, the whole queer family, for love is our birthright, and joy is our inheritance. For our opening hymn, I invite you to open your gray hymnals and rise in body or in spirit to join us in singing 396, I Know This Rose Will Open.
Our chalice lighting is The Infinite Divinity by Jamie Yandel. The chalice is lit, and in the flames, the memory of our trans and non-binary ancestors do a dance of freedom and liberation, reminding us that we are whole and holy. We are loved beyond all measure, and in our refusal to accept anything less, may we know we are rooted in the infinite divinity, not relegated to the outskirts of the web of all existence, but enshrined at its core, enfleshed with stardust and fairy dust, an intentional creation of space where our many gods live.
Now will you join me in the spirit of prayer? Spirit of life and of love, we gather to be with one another, hoping to support each other as a comfort in hard times, to celebrate our joyful and happy moments, to dwell together in the wonder and mystery of this magnificent and ever-changing life. Today, we start with a prayer for our youngest congregant here in our church. Carmen is recovering after a couple of days at the hospital and currently needs some additional oxygen. If you would keep her in your hearts. We have joy shared for the 7 people who drummed on Friday and for the many UUs who showed up for yesterday's No Kings rally, and not just UUs that showed up for the Kings rally. And we have an anonymous request for hope and good wishes for a quick recovery after a fall. We do hope that you recover soon. We would also like to offer a prayer for our transcestors by Laura Conkle. Life, soul, love. We call out to you in our grief and our rage. We call out to you in our terror and our exhaustion. Please help us to gather ourselves together and to each other. Give us strength, give us comfort, give us care. Life, soul, love. We call out to you in our need for support and change. We call out to you in our dreams and our wishes. Please help us survive. Please change the hearts and souls of those who directly bring us harm. Please change the hearts and souls of those who allow harm to come to us through their absence. Life, soul, love. May we call out to you in our sacred wholeness. May we call to you in our full humanity. Please sustain us as we love and fight for ourselves and our trans siblings right now and always. Please bring us to a day when we may live whole and sacred, reasonably safe in the great wide world. May we find this space, peace, comfort, and community that enfolds us. Amen, and blessed be. Now, if the young or young at heart would like to join us on the chancel at this time, we invite you to share in the leadership of speaking our covenant in unison before time for all ages. Hear me? Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. So this book I would like to give a little bit of introduction to. This book was directly handed to me. I had never known about this book until I was working at a hotel behind the front desk, and a person came up and was like, "Are you queer?" Like, I sure am, actually. And they handed me this book. It is a book they wrote themselves. It is called Trans Tiff. And it is based off of them. It is based off a drag persona that they created. But the full title is Trans Tiff Teaches Critical Race Theory During Drag Queen Story Time at the Public Library, which is a little bit of a mouthful, but I think it is a little important. I'm going to try and read all of this to us. If you're interested in this, it's in our library. So if you want to see the pictures really up close, Lord Byron said that their niece, I think, made the drawings for them. So, very special. All right. Trans Tiff. See, it's just that in the front. All right. It says, dedicated to all those who want to find acceptance as their truest selves. Trans Tiff happily works as a dog groomer, helping to make people's pets pretty. She enjoys seeing how much people love their animals. She also enjoys reading books to children at libraries. The library's parents and children don't mind that she likes to wear colorful dresses and wigs when she isn't at work or out in public. But this wasn't always the way things were for Trans Tiff. When Trans Tiff was 18 years old, she moved out of her parents' house and moved in with her best friend, Sis Chelsea. Both she and Chelsea bonded with each other because they were treated badly by family members and even strangers, simply because of the way they looked. Chelsea is obese. Doctors, teachers, and even her family would tell her all kinds of inconsiderate and unhelpful things. And yet, Chelsea is the same height as Tiff, eats the same portions as Tiff, and is even as active as Tiff, but she is large. So she's learned to love herself for who she is. And Tiff understands. She used to be a boy named Tommy when she was younger, but now she's living as her more authentic self, the person she knows is on the inside. It's just taking a while for the outside to match what's inside. Although Tiff is biologically a male, she presents and lives as a female. One day she hopes to have enough money to be able to get the medical support she needs to make the physical change from male to female. But right now, just to support herself, she's working 3 jobs. She and Chelsea save money by sharing an apartment. During the day, Tiff works as a groomer, but you knew that already. And some evenings and weekends, she also works at a coffee shop. She likes to work there because as a teenager, this was a safe place for her to begin making a few changes. She could grow her hair long and paint her fingernails, and her boss and coworkers wouldn't mind. And if a customer complains about her appearance, her manager just tells that person to go and get coffee from somewhere else. Her 3rd job is as a drag performer in a gay club. She doesn't get paid very much, but it's also a safe space for her. Chelsea comes to watch her shows and can get complimentary drinks as a perk. The money she makes working these 3 jobs is enough to pay for monthly expenses like rent, car insurance, gas, food, an auto loan, and her phone. But it isn't enough to begin the expensive process of transitioning from her male form to her female self. Tiff hasn't given up hope, though. And her drag performances make people happy. Tiff also likes to volunteer to read stories at least once a month at her local public library, while in drag. Tiff likes libraries because when she was young, she could discover books that weren't in her home, books that were filled with characters who might be different from her, but she could still relate to or learn from their struggles and challenges. Some people want their children to be exposed to people who are different as well, and they want to be able to choose what they feel is right for how they want to raise their children. Unfortunately, sometimes people try to pass laws or use threats of violence or force parents to give up their rights. They believe parent choice means just following one narrow idea of what right choices should be. Tiff wasn't very interested in politics before she started reading at the public library in her colorful dresses and big wigs. But now she realizes that she needs to make sure her friends understand that just by being her authentic self, some people will claim she's making a political statement. And even though critical race theory is taught in college classes and she's only reading children's stories about people like Ruby Bridges or Rosa Parks, some zealous people are going to claim that she's teaching children about critical race theory. Nevertheless, once a month, despite threats directed at her, the librarians, the parents, and the children, Tiff reads stories about people who are different from her, people of color who fought against racism and oppression. And in the process, she realizes something. That maybe she's not so different from the people she's reading about. She's a fighter too. And I think we could all be fighters like Tiff. So, that was why I picked this. Thank you guys so much. Thanks, Ben.
Today's sacred message is The Sacred Truth by Zeb Green. What I really want is for all the many gendered possibilities in the world to be not normal, but rather profoundly ordinary and familiar. Eli Clare in Exile and Pride. It was my first Sunday in the pulpit of the congregation that I serve. I'm not typically a worship leader and felt particularly nervous this Sunday, not because of preaching, but because it was my first time taking a public role while wearing a skirt and presenting as more feminine. I was raised as a boy. People look at me and see a strong, healthy young man. I have an invisible disability and I am a gender non-conforming person, however, and people get very uncomfortable when what they see doesn't match their expectations. I was also raised with the Southern conservative teaching that the church is about conformity, fitting in, and being respectable. Anything that could make people uncomfortable, ask questions, or draw scrutiny was not allowed in the church. Thank the heavens that I haven't attended a church like that in decades. I will still come to church with a voice ringing, "Don't rock the boat, be who they want you to be." That voice and conditioning are at odds with everything the faith traditions that I love tell me about myself and my relationship with the divine. The challenge I face is to share the authentic and sacred truth inside of me. That morning, I began the service with, "My name is Zeb Green. My pronouns are they, them. I've got my scraggly beard, brand new skirt, and cute scarf, and I'm here to share a word or two about love. It's just who I am." At coffee hour following the service, one of the youth came over to me and said, with so much pride, "I'm a they, them too, and my brother is a he, him." I would have loved it as a kid to have a church that encouraged us to listen to our heartfelt yearning of self, to express ourselves with authenticity, and had adults who modeled those behaviors for us. That's why I work past the inner voice. That's why I risk uncomfortable situations, strange looks, questionable comments about wearing a kilt, and the microaggressions as people figure it all out. Trans and non-binary people are under attack in this country. The pressure for all of us, especially our youth, to hide our true selves is immense. I'm so glad that we have faith traditions that embrace multiple paths through life. I'm grateful that I risked scrutiny to appear as my true self, and deeply touched that in so doing, I was able to affirm the journey of my congregation's youth.
They Can't Take Our Sparkle by Quinn Gormley. I've become known as Chaplain Sparkle Shoes at the hospital where I work. My wardrobe choice is intentional. It's more precise than calling me the trans chaplain, there are a few of us, and disarms the Grim Reaper baggage conveyed by my job title. Simply put, the shoes make me more approachable. They start multiple conversations each day, make kids and old ladies smile, and make grumpy old men flirt. More than one psych patient, upon glimpsing them, has started to dance. Besides these vocational reasons for wearing sparkly shoes, they go with all my outfits, are superbly comfortable, and scratch a girly itch in my brain that loves all things shiny. I rock them. When I was getting dressed this week, I found myself wearing head-to-toe black. Dress, leggings, socks, blazer. I even had black earrings. I sat down on the edge of the bed, feeling like I needed to put on my armor. These next 4 years will be brutal. I need to be tough and ready for battle. So I slid on my combat boots and made for the door. Just before I stepped outside, a voice in my head said, "No, Quinn, they don't get to take our sparkle." An important lesson for cis people is that if you want to know what's good about a gender, ask a trans person. Want good masculinity? Talk to trans men. Want someone who really understands what's valuable about femininity? Talk to trans women. As a trans woman, I love the way women are soft. To be clear, I love the way women are strong and tough, and ready to fight, too. My dating history makes this clear. I love the ways we sparkle, the ways we twirl. This is how I enter the world, and I have paid a high price for it my entire life. But last fall, this might be last fall when this came out, but last fall, the Republican Party spent $215 million on ads targeting women like me, trans people. They want me to be something I have never been and will never be, a man. They're coming for us. We're going to have to fight. We're going to have to be strong. But they don't get to take my sparkle, or my softness, or my twirling, or my joy. And they sure as hell don't get to take my gender. Now, if you can please rise in body or in spirit and turn in your teal hymnals to number 1053, How Could Anyone?
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything
Beloved community, today we gather in a spirit of love, reflection, and truth as we honor Transgender Day of Visibility. This is a day that calls us not only to see, but to truly witness, to open our hearts to the lived experiences of our siblings, our friends, and the fellow travelers on this journey of life. I want to share something personal with you. I am non-binary. I don't fit into the traditional gender boxes that the world so often insists upon. For much of my life, I was expected to conform, to comply with norms that never felt like they belonged to me. And in trying to do so, I suffered, quietly sometimes, and sometimes not so quietly. No one ever taught me that gender could be expansive. No one told me there were other ways of being, other ways of existing, other ways of naming myself. I didn't have the language, and I didn't have a mirror that reflected me back to myself. So I lived for a long time feeling like a round peg forced into a square hole, pressing myself into shapes that hurt and wondering why it never quite worked out. I felt lost, and I felt alone. And maybe some of you know that feeling too. Not necessarily around gender, but in other parts of your life. That sense of being out of place, of wondering if there's something wrong with you because you don't seem to fit the mold. But this is what I've learned. There's nothing wrong with being a round peg. The problem is the insistence that there's only one hole to fit into. What changed for me, and what saved me in many ways, was finding community. Finding this church, finding people who didn't demand that I shrink or reshape myself, but instead met me with kindness, respect, and love. Here I was seen, and here I was welcomed. Here I began to understand that who I am is not a problem that needs to be solved, but a truth that could be honored. And that is what Transgender Day of Visibility is really about. Yes, it's about lifting up trans and non-binary people, about celebrating lives that have too often been erased or misunderstood or ignored, but it is also about something deeper and more universal. It is about the sacred act of seeing one another. Not everyone is trans, and not everyone will walk this particular path, but every single one of us knows what it means to long for acceptance. Every single one of us knows in some way what it feels like to hope that we will be loved not in spite of who we are, but because of who we are. And so the call of this day, the spiritual invitation it offers, is not limited to just one group of people. It calls to all of us. A call to practice compassion, a call to widen our understanding, a call to create spaces where no one has to choose between being authentic and belonging. In a world that so often divides, categorizes, and excludes, we are invited again and again to choose love. Not a shallow love, not a conditional love, but a deep and abiding love that says you are worthy, you are enough, you belong. That love is at the heart of Unitarian Universalist faith. It is the thread that weaves us together across difference. It is the promise we make to one another that we will strive to see the inherent worth and dignity of every person, every single person, not just those who we understand, not just those who are like us, but everyone. So today, as we honor trans visibility, may we also commit ourselves to being people who make others visible, not by putting them on display, but by truly seeing them, listening to them, and standing with them. May we be a community where no one feels like they have to hide. May we be a community where love is not scarce, but abundant. And may we remember always that while not everyone is trans, everyone deserves love.
Okay, well, I should have let them go second. No, So some of you may have seen a lot of what I'm going to talk about in the newsletter already. If you do read it, please read the newsletter. I work hard on it. But I wanted to talk today as well about not just my experience being a trans man, but my experience going through, I'm about to make another really big transition in my life. And that's kind of what I did speak about in the newsletter is everybody transitions to some degree in their life, right? Like, even if it's from a baby to a 21-year-old, that's a 21-year-old transition, 21-year transition that you're making, right? And not all transitions are going to be from male to female, from female to male, from, you know, and though Trans Day of Visibility does celebrate that specific transition, I like to challenge my cisgender friends and family to just reflect on themselves of what does a transition look like for me? Because so often you're like, I can't relate to that person. I don't even know what that feels like. But can you? Do you? You know, I see that so often, and that has helped me not just as a, for example, as a white person, being more understanding, but in so many aspects of my life. I'm a little more off the cuff than Michaela was, so I'm sorry about that. But in the writing that I made for the newsletter, I mentioned, I don't know how many people know for sure, but I will also be leaving the church here in June to move to Washington, the same place that Elizabeth will be moving. And I got to thinking about it at one point, and the phrase, bloom where you are planted, kept coming to mind. And I don't know if anyone has heard that phrase, but it's used a lot to be like, wherever you are in life, make the best of it, is generally what the phrase means. And so often I think of that phrase and I think, okay, but I'm blooming here. Is going to kill me if I move, right? Like, to move a plant can sometimes mean that you kill that plant on accident. And that's scary, you know? And I'm like, I already have such a big, beautiful bloom here. Why should I change that? And that's what I talked about in this, is the courage to change, the courage to transition, to transform, whatever that phrase may be for you, is not only for people who are transitioning their gender. It is for people who are making any life change, for people who even just want to try a dance class because they've always thought that a dance class would be fun to do, and here's an opportunity to do so. It can be scary. Every transition that you make, every change you make can be so scary. And that's why I like the reminder of Trans Day of Visibility, because it's reminding us how brave these people are to be not just changing their gender and changing an aspect of themselves that they may not know much about the outcome, but in a world that doesn't make it easy to do so. And especially these young people that I've seen pushing back recently. I'm just so proud of the young people recently. And so I would like to encourage everyone in here today to transition, to find a place in your life that can change, that maybe makes you uncomfortable, but you've been like, man, I've always wanted to get a dog. I don't know, maybe... Hi, friends. Maybe don't get a dog, but start dog sitting for some friends and see if that helps, right? Like, you don't have to go full in when it starts. You know, when I started my transition, I started with just some binding, with cutting my hair short, you know, not much more than that. And so you don't have to do much more than a starter class at a dance group, or coming to figure out what the meditations are like here at the church and see if you actually like them before you commit yourself to them, right? So that was basically what I had to share. I think that this is a great holiday for us all to learn from, not just to remember our trans brothers and sisters, but for us all to grow from in some way. So, and then lastly, and now if you would please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our sung response, Sanctuary, the words to which can be found at the bottom of your announcements section in your order of service. One more time. Make us aware we are a sanctuary, each made holy, love drive through with thanksgiving. We'll be a living sanctuary.
Please remain standing as we extinguish our chalice flame and speak together the words in our order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry within our hearts until we are together again.
Getting you guys out of here a little early, sorry about that. But for our benediction, it is May You Be Changed by Emily Richards. May you leave this time together changed. May the promises you have made to yourself about who you want to be feel closer to the reality of who you are right now. May you share the feeling of transformation wherever you go. May it spread into every word, deed, thought, and interaction until we are all changed, transformed and transforming together, becoming our better selves. Thank you, guys. You get like 10 extra minutes.